So here we are in the third week of August of 2023. Kirsten and I were going over headlines in the news this morning, and we're seeing that there's a new COVID variant coming out, and that there's some schools on the East Coast that are requiring vaccination masks and daily tests and all the other stuff. And then we read another headline where there's some businesses down in Southern California that are requiring daily tests and masks if you're going to be into a couple movie companies and a couple other companies. And there's talks about maybe there's new lockdowns coming and everything. So you might be thinking about moving to Idaho if you don't already live here. Part of our Living in Idaho series, 5 things you shouldn't do if you're going to move to Idaho. Stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing you should not do if you move to Idaho is to try to change it so it resembles wherever you just came from. And I don't care where that is, what state it's from, what area it's from. If you're attracted to Idaho, there's a good reason. You like the lifestyle we have up here, and you like what you saw up here. Embrace it, become part of it. But don't try to change it, because even though the people up here are super, super friendly, and I do mean that, they're less friendly when you try to change them. First thing you shouldn't do is come up here and try to change it to resemble wherever you just came from. You're always going to miss some of the stuff where you came from, but you're moving to a new area, make it a new adventure. Number 2, don't drive like you do where you currently live, because we have all kinds of issues up here. We have, in the wintertime, we have black ice. You can't see it till it's too late and you're spinning out and causing an accident or getting in an accident. Summertime, especially this time of year, like early spring and late summer, you start having the migrations going back and forth between the highlands and going down into the valleys. You've got elk, deer, antelope, coyote, moose in some of the areas. You get further north and further east, you start having bear, any of which will mess up your car. You hit an elk, it's 70 or 80 miles an hour, there's a good chance neither one of you are going to walk away from that.
No way.
We've got speed limits for a reason. We don't have anywhere near the traffic that other states do have, especially when you're looking over towards the West Coast. So drive like everybody else does. Use your turn blinkers, please, for the love of God. Tell everybody what you're going to do, a lot less accidents. It's a good thing. Point 3, if you're coming from the city and you're craving a rural lifestyle, you really want to get away from the city, you want to buy out in the country, totally understand that and empathize with you, and look forward to doing the same thing myself sometime. But you got to really do some serious due diligence there, because once you're further out in the country, and I'm talking, half an hour, 45 minutes away from a city, there's a lot of things you're going to have to do yourself that you won't have to do in a big city, particularly when it comes to weather. You're going to have to maintain, if you have a long driveway, say you got a quarter or half mile driveway, how's that get plowed when it snows? If your fence gets broken, you have to mend fences. If when you go shopping, you're between 30, 40, maybe even an hour away from Costco or groceries, so you're going to have to buy a couple weeks groceries at a time. If you've done that before, no problem. But these are things you got to look at. A lot of places self-service doesn't work like it does. Internet, you may not be able to get internet unless you go with Starlink or something like that, where you're downloading it from a satellite. A lot of things to look into. You're going to have a septic system versus having sewer. So you're going to have to treat, there's certain things you have to do, pour down your toilet. There's certain times you have to have the tank pumped. You have to maintain a leach field. You're going to have well water versus city water. So you got to know what to watch for with the well, with maintenance and things like that. So there's a whole bunch of different things to look at. We certainly have had clients in the past where we sold them a large property, and a year later they called us up and said, hey, you know what? We tried it. Wasn't for us. We need to sell it. Help us. We would rather not do that. We'd rather see you hold on to the property for a long time, make a lot of money on it, and then go to sell it. Happy to do that. But we never like to see anybody buy a property and then a year or two later say, you know what, it's not what we thought it was going to be. We really want the due diligence process. We'll help you as much as we can, and we'll certainly give you our unvarnished opinion on something. But at the end of the day, only you really, really know in your heart of hearts if something's right for you or not. So think about that. Point number 4, if you move to Idaho, don't turn around and complain about all the people moving to Idaho, because you're one of them. And we see it every day. It doesn't matter if you moved here 20 years ago or if you moved here yesterday. If you weren't born and raised here, you really don't have the right to complain about all the people moving here. And everybody's changed. I have plenty of friends here who are native Idahoans, and they rightfully, or accurately, how about that? I don't know about rightfully, but certainly accurately complain about how much life's changed here. I get it. Where I grew up in Florida, nothing like it was. Where I grew up in Nevada, nothing like that. Southern New Mexico, they don't resemble anything like what they were when I lived there before. We certainly understand it. And quite honestly, nowhere is the same as it was 25 or 30 years ago. That's just how it is. It's happened more rapidly here in Idaho, and that's why the native Idahoans are unhappy with it. But the native Idahoans that sold their homes and moved on are certainly very happy about it, because it helped them get better quality of life. Don't complain about the people who moved here, because you're one of them. How about that? All right, point number 5. And we don't see this very often, but it does happen. If you've lived in urban environments your entire life and you've never been on a horse, I don't think you want to come up here and then first thing you do is go buy complete cowboy outfit, dress up like a cowboy every day and spend the cowboy lifestyle, because there's a bunch of cowboys out here, real cowboys, and they'll call you out pretty quick. I mean, if you're going to rodeos all the time, and even if you're going to rodeo, if you're embracing that Western lifestyle and doing all those things, that's one thing. But if you come up looking like you're a cast member of Yellowstone and you've never been on a horse, you can expect to get called out on that.
Get off your horse.
Now, that said, I'm a huge fan of a cowboy hat no matter what, because there's not very many hats that are better than keeping the sun off your head. Being a bald guy, I'm sensitive to that, but I spend a lot of time outdoors, and I have yet to find anything better than a cowboy hat to keep the sun off my neck and ears and everything else that I worry about. But talking literally showing up like you're Kevin Costner walking right off the set of Yellowstone,
Mr. Dutton.
think twice about doing that, so you will get called out. There's our 5 things for today. Whether or not COVID's lockdowns come back or not, who knows? Crystal ball's broken on that one. But if it comes to your area and you're looking for a place to live, Idaho's a cool one. Call us and talk to us about it. We'll be happy to get you dialed in. If you like this video, please like it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell so you know when we put a new video up, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.